Ask Mr. Oduor, please come and say a few words, because these are your people, and it is important that you invite them officially, even though we started before. But I would like you to say a few words before we. I would like I would like you to sit somewhere. I don't know where you are going to stand from. You can stand over here, because I want to put chairs here now.
Good afternoon, comrades. I am very certain at least half of you or more have met me physically or online, or have heard me, or have heard about me in the grapevine. I am actually the Oduor Owidi. I am one of the very active Kenyans, and actually I like where there is activity and noise. So sometimes I would just like you to make noise, because it is out of that noise that you will be heard. I had my good professor, Brian Odhiambo, here speak about propaganda, and I was very impressed. I had Mheshimiwa Ogindo take you through how budgeting is done, because one of the reasons why I thought we need to have something like this is because when two people do not have the same information, they are bound to disagree. They are bound to read from different scripts. That is why sometimes I feel, why don't you also know what we know? Then we go back and make a decision on the many things we are being told. Because in the political field, majority of the statements that are made and the ones that we hear are propaganda. Propaganda are those statements and those actions that are made to make you think in a certain way, or to make you act in a certain way without you realizing it. And what do? They use the inbuilt emotions in you. Emotions generally impede judgment and make you act quickly and dangerously. And what are these emotional issues? They can make you angry. They can create hate within you. But even issues of love are emotional, and they interfere with the judgment. So you better get there. When somebody makes you love them too much, know they will misuse you in the end. When somebody makes you angry, know that you are probably going to be misused. When they create for you a sense of belonging somewhere where others don't belong, they may misuse you somewhere, because emotional issues impede judgment. Worst of all, people misuse what you like most, or what you long for, or what you'd love to see, to manipulate you. That is why if you are a student during exam time and you are lazy a bit, they can lie to you with fake exams and tell you this one is the real thing. Lete kitu kidogo, you go. Even our time, there used to be something called Mwakenya. And some ladies, when your thighs are very clear, you can write some notes on it. You know, no lecturer will touch that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have gone through a lot of interesting things. But whatever information you come across, before you share it, not only online, even share it with the next person, think through it. Even before you like it, evaluate it. Human beings are inherently dishonest. They will not offer you good information just like that. So if you think they are very readily offering you information, think twice. They want to manipulate you so that they further their cause, so that you join them in what they are trying to do. But in politics, as much as we use propaganda, always remember, any time, whatever you are told, ask yourself, why now? Why him? Why me? And then what does he stand to gain? Because some of the things you see happening, for example, recently you saw something that came in the newspaper and the information media that there was tear gas in a church. You may not know because all you want to see is statements and photos as evidence. That's true. But the first question you must ask yourself, if this thing really happened, who stands to gain the most? That is the originator of that thing. Who stands to gain the most? And a person who stands to lose would not attempt such a thing. Would not. That is food for thought for you. There was a time that there were a lot of abductions. I don't know whether they were true or false. But the day it was found that an MP had staged this abduction, and another very influential blogger had also staged this on, that is the day they all ended. Nobody even told them to end them. So, propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, and gaslighting are very powerful tools that people pay millions for, and they go to great lengths to use them. People in politics have killed their own children to win political seats. Their best friends, that one now is chicken feed. They do it every other day. Because they know we as members of the society who walk the streets here on a daily basis are very lazy thinkers. We do not evaluate information that comes to us. We do not evaluate the things we see. We take them on the face value. For example, in Kenya today, we have two political formations: the united opposition and the government of the day. The united opposition right now, as I look at it, it has about 3 big wigs. If any one of them there dies, even if he's killed by a fellow member of that united opposition, it will be blamed on the government and nobody will want to listen to anything different. In fact, if you talk anything different, you will be insulted. You will be trolled online and everywhere throughout the week. But yet, the person who stands to gain most, if any member of the united opposition is eliminated, is not the government. They can't gain because the people in the opposition are still there. It is one of them. Because now, out of those 3, it remains same with another. But yet we are too lazy to think who stands to gain in such an action. That is why I thought we need to come together and also share information that we have. But one more thing I want you also to know. In elections, the very thing that makes us play a lot of propaganda, we compare 2 or more people. It is like a race, a competition, a race. Only one person can win and get the gold medal. Only one, even if you are 1,000 of you. It is not like an exam where all of you can pass. Even if you get 99% of the votes and somebody gets 1 vote beyond you, you are the same. Even if you beat each other with only 1 vote, only one person wins. So, what is important about such contests? What is important about such contests is that 2 people compete, the better one goes, even if they are all bad. 2 people compete, the better one goes, even if they are all good. So, that is why you see in politics, when we want to beat an opponent, we talk about what is so bad about them without even telling you who is the better alternative. Because if we tell you who is the better alternative, you'll start evaluating them and say, after all, the one we have is better. Like today, nobody is going to tell you who is the opposition presidential candidate. Because they want to take you to a level that you start hating the sitting president until you start saying, hata tukipewa umbwa, tutampigia kura. Once you have been taken to that level, now they can unveil for you their umbwa. That's how it works. Because if they unveil the umbwa now, you'll say, no, we can't replace what we have for a dog. But they take you to a level. Even in religion, when you are born, you find your parents go to a certain church. There's nothing good you know about that church. But in Africa Wakati, if somebody wants to say anything negative about that church, you are ready to kill. Yet you don't know anything about the other churches. We limit you to what we want you to know. We limit you. That these are the good things in life. We don't let you know there could be better ones. So, ladies and gentlemen, you agree, you disagree, take the information, use it your own way, but be vigilant on the information that the politicians release. Because sometimes, when you see previous politicians are fighting current politicians, it is sometimes just issue of legacy. If we let this guy perform, what will people say about my time? What will people say about my 10 years, my 20 years, my 5 years? It is like in love. The ex of your girlfriend is your enemy, even if you don't know him. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. Let's give him a round of applause. I want to invite Camille to speak. You have been a student leader before. You're a politician. So please talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Comrades Power. Comrades Ria. Tibim. Tialala. Thank you very much, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mwalimu, for inviting me to this beautiful town hall. First and foremost, my name is Askon Kamili. I was a student leader at the University of Nairobi in the year 2016, 2017. At that time, I was a student of electrical engineering. With the grace of God, I was then able to join School of Law after my engineering degree. And today I have the double privilege of being an engineer and also being an advocate of the High Court. Beyond that, primarily the reason why we are here is because we call ourselves comrades. Then we need to go deeper into understanding the meaning of comradeship or camaraderie. When we were at the university, the rallying call was Comrade Power. And there was a reason why it is Comrades Power. Because when probably you're somewhere in the street and you're in trouble, if you shout Comrade Power, the next person will be able to hear you and the actually comrades will come to your aid. So therefore it defeats the place of fighting among yourselves. It defeats the place of being bitter with each other, but brings us together and helps us always galvanize our support and our energy, synergy in that essence. So therefore, first and foremost, I need to put it clear to all of us that we are comrades before anything. Comrades Power. Comrades Ria. Secondly, Mwalimu, let me put it clearly. What has lacked in Kenya that then necessitated the Gen Z revolution was the fact that we didn't have this kind of conversations with the bulk of our population. We didn't have these conversations with the young people of this country to give them a chance to share their views. You'd go to a political rally and you'll all be listening to a political leader probably 30 years older than you, or even 40 years older than you. Therefore, to annex the frustration of the fact that they probably don't get to relate with your troubles would then generate the heat and the madness that we saw among the Gen Z. I understand because I've been a student leader. I understand because I've been in the space that we are all occupying today. I understand the fire in your belly. I know why there's a lot of heat, and I know why you're pressing this hard. And it is not bad to press. It is important that we have to keep our leaders in check. We have to keep our leaders on toes. Comrade Power. Beyond that, and finally, part of the reason why personally I support the broad-based government, it's because we have to understand where we're coming from and where we're headed to. And it is important that we will persuade each other to understand deeply the approach the government has put in place and what the vision is. Today, if you go to the United States of America, you will see that Trump would be doing and taking very serious measures on some of the things that may not appear appealing to us. But what pleases my heart is at the time when he was elected, he had made promises, worse, bad, unimaginable as they may have been, and on that basis he was elected. I take a lot of pride in a leader who follows his promises, who follows his manifesto. Little wonder I have a very soft spot for President William Ruto. Because in the last election I supported Raila Odinga, but I took my time to listen to President Ruto. I took my time to analyze his speeches. I took my time to listen and really delve deep into the ideas behind what he was trying to sell to the people. I was involved as part of the team that was writing Raila Odinga's manifesto. So I understand the place of a manifesto in a political campaign. It is only President Ruto, among all the political leaders that we may have heard, who has kept his word on what the political manifesto looks like. When he said he's going to do affordable housing, he's actually doing it. If we don't like it, it is just another discussion. But the truth of the matter is that he's kept his word on affordable housing. When he said he's going to review the health system in this country, it is true he's doing it. We may have issues with SHA, but the truth of the matter is he's kept his promise. When he said he's going to review the University Education Fund, how we fund our education system in this country, while we may actually have issues with it, the truth of the matter is he's actually done what he had promised. So we can only go into the details of whether the implementation of what he's doing is actually acceptable to all of us. If you go to the United States today, President Trump is actually going into delivering on what he had promised, bad as they are, unacceptable to the Democrats as they may have been. He's actually doing that. And that is a mark. That is the yardstick of establishing what a good leader is. Finally, I would challenge all of us, when you live here, go and have a look panoramically on what the four modernizations of China look like. Why then was China able to move from where they were in 1978 to where they are right now, and why everybody admires China? It took very systemic and systematic ideas towards changing and reorganizing the economy of China. Probably that is what President William Ruto is doing. And intelligent people like all of us, aspiring scholars, should be able to see that and support the president. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Comrades, power. Comrades, Ria. Excuse me. Are you excited for face-to-face with the Gen Z? Nairobi edition? You called, and here we are. And I want to take us this conversation to the next level and invite my friend, my man, an economist. A round of applause for him, Mr. Gindo.
So these are comrades, isn't it? I'm made to understand comrades are colleagues who are in the same organization. So you are university students. How does it feel to be a university student? Where's a mic? Yes. I want a sample, just 3. Start with this lady here. Yeah. How do you feel to be a university student?
T for tough. Huh? It's tough.
It's tough?
Yes.
One word. And then that coffee. How do you feel to be a university student?
I think it feels nice and privileged.
Nice and privileged. I get you. And then back there. Yes.
So tough.
Huh?
So tough.
So tough.
Very tough. Extremely tough.
Extremely tough. Come back. That's enough. That's a fail. Yeah, why I wanted to have a feel of what it feels for you to be a university student is because I was once a university student. And it was a big struggle for me to be a university student because I was born in the lecture where my friend was also born. And I grew up in a village called Marindi Primary School. And those days, we were studying to go to secondary school. We didn't know that there existed anything beyond the secondary school. So after I went to Marindi Primary School, I went to a secondary school. And we were lucky. We had to go up to Form 4, and then beyond that, you also go to high school, which was Form 5 and 6. So by the time we were leaving Form 5 and 6, we were mature men. We could walk in the village with everything else that shows that we are from high school. I know today you people have a shortcut because education system has changed. You leave secondary school and you go to the university. And I would want us to share our experiences. What made you go to the university? As for me, it was a simple thing. I went to the University of Nairobi and I saw a cousin of mine clad in a t-shirt and a pair of jeans.
And I just said, this is the place to be. I have to be here. So, can I get from you what inspired you to get to the university? Mark, can you send the mic? If somebody earned his place in the university, what inspired you? Yes, that lady.
Come up again.
I know talking is hard, but listening is even harder.
I want to become something in life in future.
Say that again.
I want to become something better in future.
The reason you went to university is to become something in future.
Definitely.
Perfect. Wonderful. Then you have a tough job. And then take it there, Machoine. What inspired you that you had to work hard to go to the university?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
My name is Hanif Bashir. I'm a final year law student. First and foremost, we all go to school to reduce our intellectual disability. The biggest, my uneducated father tells me, the biggest disease is ujinga, into bracket. That's what he tells me. I got privileged to be born in Nairobi, but every single time I go home, my parents come from somewhere called Lafe. It's in Mandera County. Every time I go home, it's very shameful, actually. I won't say it. It's very shameful. It's a disaster. So when I see such things, and you look at the root cause of such structural injustices, it's basically literacy rate. The literacy rate is so pathetic. So before I go home, I tell my people, let's go to school. I started with myself. Let me first of all go to school.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just to fukuza ujinga, so that you build your intellectual capacity. Last but not least, oh yes, dear lady. What inspired you to go to the university?
Having that degree was very okay.
Just the paper. Perfect. Yes. So, at least me, it was the pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and I thought those people look nice. And during those days, when the word comrade first came into being, we used to hear of people like Adungosi. How many of you have ever heard about Adungosi? Wow. Then later came people like Wafula Buke. Who ever heard of Wafula Buke? Wow. And then later days came the people like Okotho Bonyo. Who ever heard of Okotho Bonyo? Wow. And then later days came Karl Marx Owino. Who ever heard of Karl Marx? And then the yesteryears, I know there were the Babu Owinos, and who else is there today? Fidel Ongoya Jakababa. And Fidel Ongoya is in the room. Can you give him a round of applause? You see, why I'm going through that is because during our days, we used to get inspiration from fellow comrades. And before we joined university, we were prayed to had the privilege of going through NYS. I know you've read about NYS. We used to go there so that you are trained on a few things, some little discipline here and there. And we would get inspirational talks from people who had seen life. I got my inspirational talk from Professor Rian. He was at the Treasury, former Chief Justice Chunga, and then there was all manner of people. I'm not sure if you students of today get inspirational talks at Taifa Hall or any other place. Do those talks still take place? Oh, yeah. That's a big gap. And this is why we are presenting this forum, so that we can have talks that are enriching. Like Ahmed from Lafe Mandera said, at the university, you are there to enlarge your intellectual capacity. And I'm happy to be here today talking to people who have enlarged who are in the process of enlarging their intellectual capacity, people who are developing critical thinking, and people who are developing their character that can shape this country. So you really have a tough job ahead of you. But of course, like my gracious lady there says, she's there to get something good at the end of it. And that lady also said, so that she can hold her certificate. Yes. So we are all there for different reasons. We are inspired differently. And this is our country. We need to contribute in the governance of our country. And we contribute in the governance of our country because governance is big. If only we know where to put our hands on or our minds on. Because everybody is preoccupied by their own personal problems. So you will let things pass you, and then you complain afterwards because you are preoccupied with your personal problems. But if you know where you can plug in, then you can plug in time so that a stitch in time saves 9. And that is why I'm here to talk with you about an aspect of governance called the budgeting process in Kenya. Because budget is a governance instrument. How do we end up with a budget that is running our country? And the process is long, but I will summarize it in the simplest way I can put it by just giving you the steps so that you can find out where you can plug in. Kenya is running on something called Vision 2030. Vision 2030 is a vision that captures where Kenya needs to be in the year 2030. But it was crafted in the first administration of President Kibaki. And it was launched in 2008. So it has been guiding the Kenyan governance space for the past few years. We have tried to follow it. Sometimes we go off the rail, but we keep on track because it is our development compass. So what is Vision 2030? Vision 2030 has 3 pillars: the political pillar, the economic pillar, and the social pillar. So I know you are familiar with what comprises the political pillar, the economic pillar, and the social pillar. But then, that is the anchor document upon which we develop our budget as a country. So, Vision 2030 is a vision. When you are developing a budget, you develop a budget that is called a long-term budget and a medium-term budget. And then you have the annual budget. So the vision gives you where you want to go, and the budgeting process breaks it into long-term and short-term. In budgeting, long-term is about 10 years. Short-term is 5 years, and annual is 1 year. So what happens is that once you prepare your vision, and I'm glad and I hope that His Excellency the President, I believe, has embarked on reviewing the vision for the country, because Vision 2030 is expiring in the next 4 years. So we are looking forward to a new vision. But as we still operate under Vision 2030, we elect our presidents after every 5 years, but with a maximum of 2 terms. I'm not talking about 2 terms, I'm talking about the budgeting process. So, because the president knows he can be there for 2 terms, so the president will always develop a manifesto that makes him actualize part of the Vision 2030 in 10 years. So that vision, that manifesto of the president, normally should be timed to last 10 years. And then that manifesto now is converted into long-term and short-term, long-term, medium-term, and short-term programs. And these programs are developed into budgets. So what happens is that every financial year, the whole government system is inducted into familiarizing themselves with the presidential manifesto, because presidents are elected to implement a manifesto. That is why today President Ruto is asking his competitors, na nyinyi, wapi plan yenyu, wapi agenda yenyu, wapi vision yenyu? And I think that's a fair question to ask, because you don't seek to be president, yet you have nothing to do with the presidency if you are given. So the president has a plan for 10 years. So that plan is broken down into implementable programs that are undertaken every year. So what happens is that every financial year, and financial year in Kenya runs from 1st July to 30th June of the following year. Right now we are in a financial year called 2025-2026, which began in the 1st of July last year and is ending on 30th of July this year. So how does the budget process move? Every financial year, that's a good one so that everybody can settle. Every financial year, on the month of August, and this is very critical so that we don't wait for June 30th to start going into the streets that where did this finance bill come from? In fact, I'm addressing that issue so that you know where you can plug in before the finance bill comes in. On the 30th of September of August, the minister or the CS in charge of Treasury, John Mbadi for that matter, will cause there to be a Treasury circular called the Treasury Budget Guideline. What is that Treasury circular? It is a statement that says we have in a new financial year and we are going to prepare a new budget, and these are the guidelines. So if you want to follow the budget of this country, then you must familiarize yourself with the Treasury Budget Circular. Number 2, on the 30th of September, CS John Mbadi and his Treasury staff will cause there to be generated something called the Budget Review and Outlook paper. What Budget Review and Outlook paper means is, in that statement, they will be looking at the past financial year, how the budget has performed. And on the subsequent pages of that document, they will be addressing themselves to how the economy is looking like going forward. So that is called the Budget Review and Outlook paper. The Treasury prepares it, takes it to the cabinet, it is approved. And those are public documents that everybody needs to familiarize themselves with. More so, a university student who is intellectually empowered, who is capable of critical thinking, and who is keen in developing himself into a great player in the governance of this country. Number 3, after the Budget Review and Outlook paper, which is released on the September. Then what follows in February, by end of February, Treasury causes there to be published what is called the Budget Policy Statement. And what is a budget policy statement? A budget policy statement is a government summary of the programs that the government tends to prioritize in the coming financial year. And along with that, how the government intends to raise the money to finance those programs. So on the 28th of February, there is laid before Parliament something called Budget Policy Statement. Why Parliament? Because that is where the people's representatives are. When that paper is laid there, it becomes public and anybody is free to have a look at it. Especially if you are intellectually empowered and you are critically thinking and you have the character to make Kenya great again. So that will give you the budget policy statement. What follows now, by 30th of April, is called the budget estimate. And for those who have ever had time to familiarize themselves with the budget estimate comes in a very thick book. It is hundreds, if not thousands of pages. So that is where now you see those programs that were contained in the budget policy statement broken down into implementable programs and expenditure items. So from there, you are able to start seeing where your money is going to. And this is very important. And every budget has two sides. For those who are familiar with finance, a budget has the expenditure side and the revenue side. So that budget statement contains the two sides. And it is laid in Parliament by 30th of April. After that, I need to say something. The reason why we have governments world over is so that governments can deliver services to its people. And services that governments deliver are those services that cannot be delivered by the free market. Just hold on with the water. Just hold on with the water. Just hold on with the water. Just hold on with the water, my dear. And so governments exist to provide services to the citizens. Those services are summarized in what is called the budget estimate. And that budget estimate contains the revenue side and the expenditure side. But going forward, we now split it into two because budget has to be approved. Parliament needs to give a law that puts into effect the budget proposals so that they are implementable. So you split them by dividing them into two. One is the expenditure side and one is the revenue side. Because government exists to provide services, we first of all deal with the expenditure side. What are the services that we want to provide to Kenyans going to cost us? That is normally summarized into a bill called the Appropriations Bill. That is where the capitation to schools are, the help to university students are, the health allocation, the road, the airport, all manner of things. They are all contained in the Appropriations Bill. And if you are not familiar with the Appropriation Bill, then you will have a problem with the Finance Bill. So that is why, if you want to interrogate the budget, then you start by interrogating the appropriations bill. Because it is what summarizes what Kenyans want done to them. And that is done, what Kenyans want done to them is done through the planning, through the manifesto, and then broken down into what is implementable in a financial year. And some of these things come from the public. Like when the president is in Kitui, the local leaders in Kitui will tell the president, Your Excellency, na utupatie hii barabara, utupatie hospitali hapa, na utupatie dam hapa, na hata airport, hata stadium pia utupatie. When those engagements are going on, they are called public participation, among others. There is always a secretariat behind the president taking notes. And when you are working with the president, you are always advised to read the commander-in-chief's lips. So when you see the president looking behind, you know he wants that thing noted. So you take note. And those form the expenditure requirements of the country. Now, that appropriations bill, the appropriations bill is the bill that putting into law the expenditure areas of a country. That law that authorizes expenditure of a country is called the appropriations bill. And here's the logic. Once you approve the expenditure, once members of parliament approve the expenditure law, it behoves that same parliament to approve where that money to be spent to deliver those services is going to come from. And that law that approves where the money to finance the budget is going to come from is called the finance bill. So the finance bill is a consequential bill to the appropriations bill. So it becomes hard to fault the finance bill while you approve the appropriations bill, because you said these are the services we want, those services must be financed. And government finances its services through two means. Number one, taxation. Number two, borrowing. And that's how we end up with a budget. So next time you want to question your budget, question them following the processes. And all these things normally take place by public engagement. The only problem is that the public engagement is not public enough. When you go to Treasury, there is always a circular calling for public input. So it takes your interest to see them. With those few remarks, I'm sorry to have gone technical, but that's what it takes. Comrades, power. Thank you very much. Now you can proceed.